Trevor.
Yeah.
Whatever, baby.
2 weeks. And hopefully you get
What's the cash game going to be? Is it going to be like 1-2 or 51?
30 seconds.
Tony, what's the cash game?
A 1-2 cash game?
Is it going to be 1-2?
Yes.
Tony, what, here?
Guys,
Can I? Yeah, very interesting.
it probably won't be until after CTV's over, but then I think we're looking at the next cool thing that we can do.
All right, good night, Paul. Oh, yeah. I mean, like a cash poker.
I would follow the same rules that the horseshoe does. $200 buy-in max, rebuys.
I think that would be a blast.
I have people I've been talking to.
That's right.
Who would do a train dealer?
It depends if Brandon was interested in either playing or dealing.
I mean, I would play into a deal or swap, play a deal.
That'd be cool.
You know.
It would be a no rakes situation.
I'd like to go ahead and welcome everybody back to the third part of Chase the Bracelet Game 8, Season 3 or 4 or 5 or 19, whatever you'd like it to be, Season 4, actually. Currently in first place, we have Marco with 29,500 chips. In second place with 24,000, we have Corey. And in third place, outchipped about 5-1 in this case, is Mark with 5,000 chips.
I start with 5K.
Looks like Mark is raising on his button.
16 guys.
1,600.
And back to the action.
Nice, Chris.
You're welcome, PJ.
Mark takes it down.
Can you reset that for me, Chris?
I can do it.
Can you do it? Can they do it in there? I don't think so. Okay.
They can, but I don't know.
I don't know how.
Drew and I were predicting a very quick three-handed game here.
Can't hear you, Paul.
Turn on the mic.
There we go.
That's only because my mic's off.
Much better.
As I was saying that nobody could hear, Train and I on break air were predicting a very quick three-handed game here.
Raise.
2,200 raised by Marco. Takes it down.
2,200.
The three people that sounds wow. How do you say
What are the blinds?
4 and 8.
Blinds are 4 and 8.
16 minutes, 15 seconds left in the blind.
Long way to go. Short time to get there.
I'm not a fan of it. I
Ready to do what they say can't be done.
I don't want to. See, that's what you do. You mean raise them when I know you have to.
Corey to act first.
Eastbound and down, my friends.
If not, if that's all you do.
No, that's true.
Marco with tens.
I haven't tried that one. Remember that
See
one
what
time
Mark
I-
does with his Jack 3
This
suited.
is like many years ago.
A lot of people in these when you're this short-handed feel like they have to protect their
Cutrapello
lives.
all in.
And Marco calls.
Marco calls with tens.
Such a short stack.
5,000.
Mark, that's one of the things, as short as Mark was, he pretty much had to go real soon. You just get unlucky when
Hindsight probably says he should have picked
Well-
a better position than Jack 3, but you never know what you're going to run up
Right.
against.
Oh, nice hit, nice hit.
and he hits a jack. Marco needs a 10.
Nice hit, wow.
And Mark doubles up with the Jack 3.
Very
Button moves over to Mark.
My fan at home goes wild.
My dad's still away.
Your fan in the booth's rooting for you, too.
Again, we'll remind the folks at home that Paul's prediction to win the entire tournament is in fact Mark.
Perfect for Cole. Fits.
And with his finish tonight, it's been a bunch of
I got lucky once or twice, so I can't complain.
top four are really going to bunch together tonight, after tonight.
Mark called. Marco calls.
Marco calls with king 3 off. Corey checks the 10-2 off.
Marco. Sorry, Rosie. I watched.
And Corey flops.
Action on Marco
3-10.
first.
Corey checks.
Checks around.
Check.
Let's see if Corey checks one more
Both
time.
players check.
See if Marco tries to steal.
800 bet by Marco.
Usually we have when we try not to back them in.
Marco just throws a min bet out there. Let's see how much Corey raises here.
Raise to 2,000. 12 more, Marco.
Marco with complete air folds.
Marco folds.
I like the raise. Not too big. Hoping to get a call.
Button moves over to Marco.
Marco with ace 9 on the button.
Button Marco hit to play.
Mm-hmm.
Raise to 2,400 by Marco. Corey folds. Mark folds.
Good fold.
Button on Corey. 12 minutes, 5 seconds left in the blinds. Blinds are 400, 800.
Marco with ace 3. Mark with queen 10. Not sure what Corey had. It
Oh,
never
he already
showed.
folded it.
Corey folded before his cards were read.
Right.
Oh, okay,
There
there.
we go. 10 deuce again.
Folded the door.
Raise to 24.
Raise to 2,400 by Marco or
Mark
Mark.
raises a queen 10 to 24. Marco's got ace 3.
Marco
And
folds.
Mark takes down another one. He's chipped up pretty good so far since break.
Button on Mark.
Marco has roughly 13,000. A little less. 10,000. Corey's just under 20.
My small, right?
Yes, sir. Corey, big buddy.
Or what is it, 20?
Yep.
10-8.
Mark has 10,800.
Action on Mark,
Mark
first.
with king queen. Would not be surprised to see him raise here. Or even shove. Yeah,
Mark
there we
pushes
go.
all in.
10,800 all in.
Marco 9-3 off. Corey with a king deuce of diamonds. Absolutely won't play that.
Mark takes it down.
Mark just needs one more double up. He's right in this thing.
Button on Marco.
Marco with 10-7.
What's your dad saying? Tony. Hi, Tony.
Hey, Tony. Tony. Take him out back. Whack him, Tony.
Corey with 4-6 off.
4
This is definitely want to open up here and play more hands, but
Raise
it's,
2,000.
2,000 raised by Corey. Mark folds.
it's kind of hard to pick your spots when you're getting 4-6 and 7-3 and
And
Jack
10
4.
deuce.
And, yeah,
Button is on Corey.
Yeah, absolutely. When you get down to 3-handed, you've got to be willing to raise. a lot of different hands. Corey with the king 4 suited, which is actually by far the best hand.
Raise to 16.
1600 raised by Corey.
Mark's got 8-5 off. Marco's got 4-5, but he's in the big blind. He may call here. Yeah.
Marco calls.
Oh, I've seen that one.
And Corey flops trips again. And this time he's going to lead out.
That's 15.
Marco folds. Button moves to Mark.
So much for the quick-handed prediction.
Well, it's still early. Just said it's going to go quick. There's several players in this thing that could take 2 hours to finish this off.
Without a doubt.
Mark with the queen 6. Folds. Marco with 9-3. Let's see if he gives a walk.
Marco folds.
Wow.
Corey
I think that's
takes
our
over.
first walk of the night.
It's one of those hands I hate. I don't know where I'm at. I hate those.
Yeah.
I'd rather have nothing and
Yeah, it's
get
better.
us or flop 2 pair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's better to make it easy for yourself.
Exactly, especially.
I think you know where you're at most of the time with 9-3.
Buttons on Marco.
Ace 4 for Mark.
I think if we see Corey raise here, we might see Mark shove.
What's this guy's name?
Ah.
Mark gets a
What
walk.
do you have? An ace?
Yeah. I had 5-3.
I'm ready to go with it.
And Mark confirming the fact there that he was ready to get it all in with his ace.
Button is on Corey.
Uh-oh. This could get Corey with 8s, Mark with ace deuce, Marco with ace king.
And 16 is
Corey raises a 1600.
Corey with a raise.
I think we're going to see Mark
Mark
re-raise
with a
here.
call. Oh,
38.
Mark
39
raise-
out of it.
Mark raises to 3900.
Now let's see what Marco does. If he just calls or raises.
They do.
That's negative chips right
And
there.
Marco 4-bet shoves here.
Marco is all in.
Make the decision with cat on the ground.
Now here's the big call.
He's his pussy off.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going to go.
I think if he knew that Mark had an ace also, and that Marco had ace king, I think he would make this call in a heartbeat.
Big pot, boys.
If he makes this, yeah.
Corey folds.
You must have been in third place, Corey.
Mark folds showing ace deuce.
I thought he was calling for sure. Wow. I'm surprised that.
Nice
I am
bet by
very
Marco.
surprised. I was thinking you would fold.
I think he was ahead of me, too.
I was.
As long as he was thinking, wow.
Small, big.
4 minutes, 40 seconds left in the blinds. Blinds are 400, 800.
This is surprised.
Buttons on Mark.
Mark with king 10, I'm pretty sure we'll see him shove here.
Whatever that is.
Mark is all in.
Marco with deuce 4 off. Corey with 6-9 off.
I'd like to know how much that is.
asking.
Marco asking for a count with deuce 4.
73. 7,000.
Cat's gonna be so jealous when I come home covered in cat hair.
Marco folds. Corey folds.
You're going to do it with a lot of hands. That's why I needed to count and see what you have.
Button is on Marco.
I looked up like King 10, Queen 9, Jack 9, Ace, middle.
Marco with Jack 7. Corey with 7-8. Mark with 9 deuce suited. Marco folds. Corey folds.
Ian
Corey, did you
uncontested.
win last
Mark
week?
takes it down.
Did you win last week?
The game.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't play the game. I was out of town.
Okay.
My surrogate won.
Oh, shit.
Rudy. Oh, yeah, Rudy. Not even.
Button moves to Corey.
Helpful. Appreciated that.
Mark with a king deuce. Corey on the button with queen 7. Marco with 10-7 suited.
I don't play one.
Once again, I would not be surprised to see Mark shove if Corey.
That's a good rule, so you can't like, not that anybody would, but this is 6 regular.
1600 by Corey.
Corey raises the queen 7 to 16.
Someone will let you know where you're at when chip stacks are this big.
How much?
I believe blinds are what, 4 and 8?
I have to pretty much do that with any 2 cards, don't I? I'm calling. Check. I'm checking.
Marco thinking with any min raise he should call automatically. And flops an open-ended straight flush draw.
Probably not a hand Marco's going to get away from very easily.
Corey checks.
And now, Marco flops top, or turns top pair. Corey turns a straight through.
How much is it? 1500 bet by Marco.
Corey open-ended here.
You're loving this. I would too.
I don't know if Corey's thinking he might have fold equity here, but he absolutely doesn't.
I think you're sitting above 20,000 on 1500s.
1 minute left in the
Not
blinds.
very much of your
Corey
stand.
calls.
And Marco with 2 pair for the win.
Marco checks.
Now Marco gives up the lead hand.
See if Corey thinks he can get Marco off this. He's played the hand like he might have had second pair.
3500 bet by
But
Corey and a
Marco
call by
does not
Marco.
even
Snap
hesitate.
calls with a
Yeah.
top pair.
And I just paid draw too.
Marco's not the kind of player you want to try and bluff.
Calls 10s up for the win.
Suddenly I thought, because where the button was, I'm like, oh my god, did I check out of turn? I'm like, oh my god.
Marco
that's
trying to
what we
explain
do.
his play.
Did you see my? But then I'm like, no, because I checked on, so I knew. But I'm like, oh.
Put you on a pair now.
I don't know. You did? No, shut up.
Button on Mark.
You're not that good.
Tony, what are the blinds?
If you did.
Blinds are now 500 1000.
What's the blinds on 5?
5
I
1000.
thought you had an 8. Triple 8.
18-minute blinds.
Marco with
I got it.
queen 9. Mark with 9-3 off. Corey with jack deuce.
What do you have, just so I have to know if it's
Mark
never
Footer.
mind.
2 pairs.
I had to know if there's an auto call. He's got
Corey
two
with
pieces. He's got a lot
about
of-
13,200, 13,100 or so.
12,000. Oh, yeah, with his 1,000 out there. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're good.
This is my refuse to make my comment.
Check.
Marco flops a flush draw. A lot of cards out there though that Corey can steal.
$1,000 bet by Corey.
No spade. Oh, I did have a spade.
Oh, dude, but move.
9 queen. 1 spade. I didn't think I was spade. I thought there were 2. See what a horrible player.
Button is on Marco.
Oh, that player's
Oh,
back.
you cross. PJ had to bring me tissues.
I was cracking that made you cry.
I could make him cry. I'll still lose.
Mark with Queen 8 off.
Oh,
Well, is the best hand.
I was going to say, if Mark knew what the other cards were, he would absolutely have his chips all in the middle in this hand. I know that.
Marco folds. $3,000 bet by Corey.
Good raise out of the small blind by Corey.
Let's see if Mark can. He can't call. It's either fold or shove, I think.
Looks like he only has about 7,000 or 8,000
Are you
behind.
still trying to do? I know you're off at 20 a day.
I think he's going to fold.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Shows his Queen 8. Corey gives up no information. No reason to show your
You know,
cards.
that's what the difference between, you shove and you call.
When you're playing the same players every week and they have the ability to watch the tape, I feel that there's no reason to give them any information for the current game.
ace or king. I don't deserve to get
I feel when against Ed early on, I think my 2 pair holding up is lucky. Getting in.
Corey with ace 3 suited on the button. I'm pretty sure we'll see a raise here.
2,200 raised by Corey. 1,200 for Marco to call.
He knows Marco will call a min raise with any 2 cards, so he upped it a little bit.
Short-handed like this, it should be systematic to raise the button just to
Marco
see where
deck
you're
first.
at.
Check.
Marco flops top
Both
pair.
players check.
4,000.
Marco bets 4,000. Corey folds.
Marco shows that he checked top pair in that situation.
I showed him. I don't show him.
I think any face card here, and Mark's going to get it all in here.
Put someone on like who
Like on tilt or something.
like if Max was going on tilt.
Oh, he
So I
was?
was about.
See, I don't
I
go on
would-
tilt. If you, why? It's just cards. You bluff me once, you're going to bluff me, you're going to beat me, you're going to...
I try not to get
Mark deck
emotional
first.
about it.
I highly doubt anyone's going to bluff Marco.
Yeah.
Marco
not
will be the
sure
bluffer
that's
in
ever happened.
99% of the situation.
Mark's got 9-10 here. Let's see if he didn't even wait for a face
Mark is
card.
all in.
He's probably going to get called by Corey.
Marco folds.
I don't know, Corey doesn't have enough of his stack invested to make this call.
I would call it if I could have.
How much is it?
7,000.
7,000 all in for Mark.
6 and a quarter.
How much does Corey have?
Corey has about 13,000.
Correct.
So if he calls and he's wrong, that's a huge chunk of his stack.
Which is exactly why you shouldn't call with just a king high against a button raise. Because you have no idea what to put Marco on here.
He's not Paul.
Well, I just know Mark's range is so much wider, and the king 10 beats so many hands he's moving in with there.
King 7.
Yeah.
Corey calls.
I think
Corey
it's,
makes the call.
I think it's a good call either way.
Good call.
I mean, seeing the hands, absolutely.
No, just on Mark's range alone.
Oh,
And
Good game.
Corey takes it down.
Corey takes Mark out.
Marco not familiar with heads up
You guys are
yet.
fine.
Oh, we do? Okay.
You don't have to. You guys are fine.
I want
It only,
Asking if they draw for the button.
it's only within like a year.
Yeah. So big.
Paul and I actually debated on Corey making that call. I disagree with Corey's call, and Paul agrees with it.
Draw for the
Just
button.
because your range is so
Marco
big,
wins.
I don't
he doesn't.
train giving in and drawing for the button.
But
Five for me, right? Sure.
I mean, in the spots reversed,
Good luck, dude.
what do you do
I
with
need to
goes
win
in there?
You need to win. Yeah, you
It's over.
The button
That was
No, I'm just thinking, I would never do that.
in heads
He
up
would
play.
be-
The
he doesn't
button
always
will
win.
be the first to act before the flop. And
Probably
following
will.
the flop,
Yeah.
uh,
That's what I've heard.
the player who is not the button will act first.
also like heads up.
I tell you what, as much grease as I gave Marco as what he played the first round. He's played fairly decent since then.
Marco raised to 3,000. Corey folded.
I mean, he's still bluffing, but he's picking spots better.
I really heads up, it's like a shoulder raise. Sometimes I'll just
Yeah,
call.
before he was raising.
It's either fold, raise, or call.
Well,
Pretend
yeah,
he was
sometimes because you have a monster.
You know what I
You
mean?
do a lot of
Now he's raising buttons.
You got some chips. What do you got? 18?
I got about 2. Or 20.
I'm sorry.
This should be over pretty quick.
12, 20.
What's? Oh, you're trying to figure out how many.
I believe Corey has roughly
Okay.
Corey has
12.
19.
19,000.
That's
Yep.
almost
So we have Marco with about 30,000 and Corey with about 19,000 in chips.
Raise
Well,
22.
Marco with about 40, I believe.
Corey raising with the 4-9. Marco calling with the 3-5.
I need that stuff.
See, this is where Marco's been unconscious tonight.
I'm hitting something.
Yeah, he's. Seems like every flop.
I wouldn't be surprised.
2,000 bet by Corey. Marco folds.
There was a hand earlier. Well, Corey made a button raise, and I had ace queen, and came over the top, and he folded. And then his next button
You had-
raised, and I
You
had
had him beat.
and I had ace jack, and I didn't come over the top that time. And I think for me, it might have been. Wish I had
Yeah.
come over the top again and took
I
those
think
chips.
just about
Action
every
on
button
Marco.
raise except the one where all three of you had a hand. He had less than you.
Marco calls.
He had eights. And Marco shoved. Marco 4-bet.
Corey checks his
I had
option.
ace two of hearts. Oh, and yeah, what did Marco have that hand?
Marco flops
ace
middle
king.
pair, Corey with
Marco
bottom
had
pair.
ace
I
king.
had ace two.
Corey checks.
Two.
Marco bets 1,000.
Some action here.
Call by Corey.
Uh-oh.
Corey turns two pair. King out there is still a scare card. The curtains move on their own.
3,000.
3,000 bet by Corey Mikesell. Call by Marco.
King or 10 or 4 would be sick. If he shows, I don't think he's calling.
He's been pretty good at making some good sized bets that should sometimes getting paid off. Not over betting, which is the case that happens here quite a bit. And
Corey all in.
600.
And with a king and queen out on the board,
Marco folds.
Marco has to let it go. I think he wants to make that call there, but with two overs, he just can't. I mean, he could. It is typical Marco fashion.
Button is on Corey. Corey to act first.
But contrary to the downtrodden way we talk about Marco, he has definitely hit some hands today that has got him this far,
absolutely.
and that's all that it takes. Phil Hellmuth once said, "I'd rather be lucky than good."
Raise to 22.
2,200 raised by Corey Mikesell.
Corey, I think, is going to raise every single one of his buttons.
Marco folds.
And has been pretty consistent in doing it.
All right.
7 minutes, 7 seconds left in the blinds. Blinds are 500, 1,000.
about even in chips right now?
They're going to be getting pretty close. Corey with ace queen, Marco with 10-8 suited.
See if Marco tries to raise here. Nope.
Marco
No.
calls.
I'm fairly certain. Oh, wow.
Corey
Can't
checks his
believe
option.
He let him in for cheap.
Let's see if it pays off.
Ace on the flop. No.
No. Marco with a straight draw.
Next on Corey.
Marco has bet almost every straight draw he's got tonight.
2,200 bet by Marco.
That's the problem with trying to get tricky there.
And it's a confusing play because if he wanted to raise, he should have raised pre-flop.
Yeah.
He's mad at himself, so he might compound the problem here, although he is ahead.
Raise to 5,000.
5,000 raised by Corey.
He did this earlier against suited Dan with ace queen. Dan flopped second pair and Corey check raised him. Huge.
Raise. The gut shot,
It's-
he might call.
If he knew his 10 and 8 were live too, I'm sure he would call. He still may.
And he makes the call.
Marco calls 5,000.
This could be the deciding
You see
pot of the
Corey
night.
look to the side. If Marco caught that, I think he should know where he's at in this hand.
Corey's not going
Yeah, I think Corey might even jam here with that many outs. Because even if Marco doesn't fold, he's got a ton of outs. Yeah,
Corey is all in.
yeah, I thought he would.
20,700.
There's no way Marco's gonna
21,700.
Nice play.
Gotta be a chip leader with that hand.
Very
Just
nice play.
just prior to that turn card coming, Corey made a very, very disturbing sigh over his right shoulder that no one else seemed to catch. I think if Marco caught that. Unfortunately, Marco had no cards to play, but I think Corey definitely let out where he was in that hand when Marco called.
But is on Corey.
Corey with Jack 10, Marco with Jack 6.
Now, Marco stated earlier that you shouldn't tilt. Let's see what happens here.
Raise to 22.
Corey's applying pressure, constantly raising. Definitely gets aggravating after a while.
Good fold there. I thought he was going.
I'm surprised because he was just talking about how you should call. He says he thought you should call any min raise with any two cards, which I used to agree with, but anymore I don't. Marco with King 8, Corey with 2-3 off.
All right.
See if Marco raises.
Raise.
3,000 raised by Marco. Corey folds.
Marco raising specifically with hands rather than position.
Good game for you, no matter what happened.
You too.
Enjoy playing that with you. Like
Yeah.
very keen game on it.
It's going to be a log jam now at the top for these points.
We reel Bobby in a little bit, but
He's still going to be in first.
yeah,
He already figured it out.
he had a nice cushion.
Raise to 22.
Raised 2,200 by Corey.
Marco with 4 or 5 of hearts.
Corey again raises on the button.
He's raised 100% of his buttons heads up.
That's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Marco calls.
I don't know who says you're supposed to do it, but it ends up being the proper play mathematically.
Checks.
Marco flops bottom pair. Let's see if Corey makes a continuation bet here.
$27.
2,700 bet by Corey. 1 minute, 48 seconds left in the blinds. Marco is all in.
Marco shoves with bottom pair.
19,200.
Minus 27.
I think it's a bit, fairly easy for him to give away.
Corey folds.
I got to check raising one time, slow you down a little bit.
I don't think that's going to slow him down any. Marco says it's going to slow him down by check raising him.
How much do you have left? You guys can keep it. We're pretty much steady.
That's how, if they do the cash game, I'm absolutely coming and commentating on that.
Extra on Marco.
Awesome, the cash game.
You'll see. You'll have a lot of fun coming.
Especially if you get Bobby and
1 minute warning. Marco calls. Corey checks.
Brandon and this knucklehead.
This knucklehead loses a lot of money playing cash. I mean, you know,
That's why I quit playing cash.
I'm alright. I'm up for the year. I can't complain. It's a 9 high board. Marco with an ace high, currently best.
14's a bet.
Corey bets 1,400.
Marco didn't raise people.
I don't believe Marco has any concept of raising on the button.
Marco called.
He did, however, raise the last time
Let's see
he was the
if
button with the king 8.
Corey can make another bet at this.
Check.
Yeah, he gave it up.
Checks.
Both players check.
So hard to make them 3-barrel bluffs. I'm famous for doing them in the wrong spots.
Take a stab at it.
He might be able to take it down here.
34.
3,400 bet by Corey.
I think the bet's a little small.
See, against a lot of players, that's a good bet because they're going, why would you bet so little? You want me to call. You want me to call. Against a player. You can't, see, that's what I was saying. You can't bluff Marco.
And Marco calls with an ace high for the win.
You just,
Good call by Marco.
you never want to bluff him. He calls so much.
What's the bet though, dude?
Yeah, I figure.
You got to, I mean,
I'll take that.
Oh, we're up
612.
Yep, 600, 1,200. 16 minutes, 53 seconds left in the
And
blinds.
Mark goes back into a huge chip lead.
well,
Yeah, Corey really fought back there, but he takes the couple
Corey
hands.
with Queen 2.
it's not
Marco
an
with
easy
6-9.
call, you know that.
6 there. 24.
Raise 24.
Corey raising on the button again. Constant min raising.
Marco calls.
Like to see him change that min raise though. Maybe make it 2.5, maybe 3 times.
Nobody hitting.
Sorry.
PJ apologizing from the background.
2,500 bet. Corey takes it down.
I'd like to give a shout out to Steve Day, who's watching this evening.
You're lucky. Well,
Hi, Steve. How you doing?
23, 24.
it's only, I probably have, let's see,
You look like you have a little more.
It was 28, 28 now.
24, 28.
Looking into a chip count.
Should be fairly close now. Corey with ace 4. Marco with 8-9 suited. If Marco raises here,
33.
Raise 2,000 on top.
see, this is a hand heads up where I would probably just shove it.
Little change here. Corey wondering if his ace is good. By about 4%.
Marco raises to 3,200 and an all-in by Corey.
This is, does Marco want to gamble with suited connectors?
Mark would, but I don't know about Marco.
Would you really?
Wow.
For the tournament?
Yeah.
Gives up 3,200.
I mean, if I was short stacked, it absolutely would be.
Oh yeah, not with his guy. I would have to think about it. I'd be reluctant to fold those.
I know you like them a lot.
Button on Corey.
Corey with 3-5 off.
Min raise?
Call.
Oh.
You know, right now, alarms would be going off in my head.
Absolutely.
If he had raised me that many times.
Marco
and just
checks his
lived.
options.
Something to think about in this hand. And these are the things you have to watch for. Is you have to keep track of
And
what
he
your
flops
opponent's
two
doing.
pair.
And
Fortunately, Marco doesn't have much going.
Oh.
now with
Oh.
threes full, I think Corey knows he's won this pot.
And then he'll check again.
Wishing he'd have raised
Marco
pre-flop.
might represent them. Uh-oh. That was a check.
Just
No
throw him
chance
in
to
bet
catch
out.
up.
Just throw him in, bet out. You're not going to get called. But
Corey wondering if he can make money here.
$3,200 bet by Corey.
yeah, maybe trying to show like maybe he's bluffing.
With a jack high, let's go. Your jack high no good.
Wonder if Marco would have called there with his ace-8 that time.
What do you bet, like 4,000 there on the
32.
32?
Buttons on Marco.
No cards for the
Pot size
players.
bet.
Corey's got to raise cards.
No cards for the players.
There you go.
There we go.
And Marco gets the walk.
Did you guys think Bobby was going to be able to fold that hand earlier? Or?
What happened?
I can't believe he just called. And
But
left
done,
himself
Corey.
that short. You either fold or go all in. I would think. And he even said the same thing.
25 straight.
2,500
Corey
raise.
raises with 4-7 off. Marco has 8-3 off.
Marco folds.
Oh, that's the thing with those small raises. If you take a bunch of them, the one where he does repop you, you just let it go.
Multi-table, play heads up with the cat too.
That would be interesting TV.
Marco with King-2 off.
I think they bet with fur balls.
Raise 2 catnip.
Just limps in with King-2. Lets the 3-4 offsuit in there, easy. Corey gonna lead out with 3-4 here.
14.
1,400 bet by Corey.
Marco calls with just a king high. Now an ace.
Next on Corey.
Corey with all sorts of outs here. 9 to be exact.
Raised to 3,500 by Corey.
Come on.
Marco all in. Corey folds.
Marco thinking he's on a stone cold bluff there, but had the best hand by far.
Button is on Corey.
I feel like I'm watching Paul Moskowitz play.
Corey with king 6, Marco with 3-7,
Corey raises to 2,500.
Marco with 3-7 off. I think Marco's getting fed up with the raising and betting.
And that's the position you hope to put your opponent
Marco
in.
calls.
Raise on the button every time. You want him to move in with inferior hands.
Marco checks.
Nobody hits again.
Well, that's one of the things that's going to happen most of the time. Heads up, you're not going to make pairs.
Corey bets 1,500. Or 2,500, I'm sorry.
Cat hair. Those damn cats. Temperature changes.
Corey looking completely disinterested.
He's done that several times.
Typically when you're disinterested, though, it means you're strong. The downside is I don't think Marco either A, doesn't believe him at all, or B, just doesn't notice these things.
I'll tell you what, Corey's made several moves here when people have raised him and re-raised him, where he's gotten it all in.
Corey folds.
I don't want to play you.
And
Marco talking the shit now.
Marco making several good plays when Corey raises money.
Button moves to Marco.
Maybe he knows a little bit more than we're giving him credit for.
I think he's guessing. But he's guessing good. I will give him that.
Corey with a pocket pair. Marco on the button.
Marco probably just limp in, which has been his.
Marco calls.
I raise.
Corey raises 3,200.
Marco with 10-4 off.
A lot to consider here from Marco.
Marco calls.
Been, losing some hands.
Yeah, Marco's just calling any 2 cards now. He's just fed. Yeah, he's just fed up. I'm sure of it.
Corey first act.
He wants to pull the trigger, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All in for Corey.
16,100.
I don't know what Marco's thinking about. He can't possibly call this.
Action on Corey to act first.
The war of attrition. Who lasts longer here? Marco continues to suck down Mountain Dew, gives him that energy he needs to play heads up.
It's been a while. You guys are nowhere near it. Oh, we're not? No. Who was it? Paul and who? Second week or something.
What's that?
Second week heads up. And they
That was you and
Oh, yeah.
Moskowitz,
Whoever
wasn't
it
it?
was. Okay.
Second week?
Yeah.
Did you win the first 2?
No, in the second and the third.
Second and third. Yeah, it was Mark and Paul Moskowitz the second week. That was a battle. Yeah.
We'll in fact see you guys later, though. I have some paint drying at the house I need to check on.
You can stake me if you want.
Give me the odds.
Corey to act first.
Uh-oh.
This might
Oh,
be
no,
the
sorry.
hand.
Button's on Marco. Marco to act
This
first.
might be the hand.
Marco just
Marco
calls.
with a smooth call.
You know, with Marco just limping and calling so much, I would just start shoving. If he wants to play, he's going to play for it all.
Works every time,
If
but
he
the
shows
last.
here, I
Well,
think Marco's going to call. Oh, what do we got?
Raised 3,100 by Corey.
The best way to take out a giant is to knock out his legs, and I think that's
Marco
what
calls.
That's what Corey's trying to do here. Marco has a huge chip stack, and Corey just needs to chip at it.
And that's why I would have shoved there.
Marco is all in.
I think with another heart out there, Corey would have called.
Oh, with two
However-
hearts, he would have called him the heartbeat, I think.
Marco ready to flip
And he's
his card.
still thinking about it. Because I think he knows he's been bluffed out of a couple hands now.
Corey can't think that his ace is good here. And he lets it go.
Corey folds.
He wants to believe it.
Corey doesn't make any decision before he thinks it through, that's for sure.
He trained, can I get, or
There, I got you right here.
Corey with about 15,000 left.
So he has 20 on the dot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's very analytical.
It's about 38,500 for Marco and about 20,000 for Corey.
Close to Marco.
Yep. Good layout.
Extra on Corey.
Give or take $1 million here or
I
there.
thought we were going to call.
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about the hero call.
The hero call from behind.
6 to complete the bet.
Yeah, I'm making it 25.
25.
Raised to 2,500 by Corey.
Most of them hero calls are usually from behind. Corey with an open-ended straight draw. Would not be surprised to see him get it in here.
Again.
2,500 bet by Corey.
I call.
Corey all in.
Corey shoves with a king.
Marco called him with just king high and
Corey's still
gets
open-ended,
there.
looking for a queen or a 7.
3 of clubs, 3 of spades on the river.
3 on the river.
Game, Cor.
Marco takes down game number 8, season 4 of Chase the Bracelet.
Yeah, I was
Thank
thinking
all
about it. I
the
was setting
players
up
for
for
coming
the
out.
shot there.
And I'd like
Stack
to
size.
thank
Yeah.
all of the people at home for watching.
Good playing, Corey.
Yeah, thanks.
It
Really
was a good heads
For
up.
Paul Bosch and Chris Ward, we'll see you again next Sunday at 6 o'clock.
Really good.
Okay, I got to come in first and second next like 4 weeks.
You're good, Marco.
Next 3 weeks, you get that first place again, buddy. You'll be all right.